My sister and I are inside this epic pillow fort, and we're huddled together playing MASH on one of those little paper cootie catchers. You know, that origami fortune-telling game where you map out who you're gonna marry and what kind of job and house you'll have and if you'll have kids or a wilting plant. In 20 minutes, we had mapped out our entire life, perfectly scripted. And in the 7 years that I had been alive at the time, there wasn't a safer, more fun, laughter-filled position in which to be than nestled in the nook of my older, infinitely wiser sister, Sari. The next day, she was killed. At my sister's funeral, an older woman knelt down beside my little body and whispered into the echo chamber of my despair, "No one can take your joy." My body had truth bumps all over, but my little child brain was like, what does that mean? There I was, my script ripped to shreds, standing alone on stage in the black box theater of life, not having a first clue as to what my next scene, my next move, my next thought was going to be. It was the very definition of improv. And if we want to find true fulfillment in life, we better learn to improvise. We all want to take control of our own narrative, especially when there are pressures and bills and relationships and jobs, when there is life just coming for us. And if we can learn to recognize 3 fundamental components that we all tend to run from, miss, and resist, then we can completely transform the big show of our life into one full of comedy, joy, and profound meaning. These 3 components, embracing the silence, following the fun, and sharing our gifts, they also happen to be my most favorite rules of improv comedy. Think back to the last time that you were ever just sucker punched by life. If you've ever lost a job without a backup plan, or if you've ever had a spouse leave you in the life that you've built together, if you've ever watched a loved one go through cancer, or had a family member die tragically, suddenly, what was the first thing that accompanied that shock? Silence, right? Usually scary, disorienting, oppressive silence. When I went back to school after my sister was killed, I started short-circuiting under my desk during silent reading, just rocking back and forth in the fetal position. My brain was desperately trying to run from the situation in front of me, while the monsters of grief, pain, fear, and shame grew so big in the darkness of my denial that all I could do was curl up, tremoring like a dog in a thunderstorm. Eventually, my teacher slipped pencil and paper into my little bunker, and for the first time, I was able to get present enough to sync my mind, my heart, my body, and actually express what I was feeling. Of course, the picture that I drew was of my parents dying tragically in a horrific accident, while I drifted, faded, and alone into the corner of the piece of paper. Yikes. But it changed my view of the silence that I had been so scared of. Being willing to sit and listen to it connected me instantly to what I was feeling and forced me to face the situation at hand. Yes, this horrific world-shattering thing had happened, and what now? Think back to the last time that you ever allowed yourself to pause in total silence. No phone, no computer, no television, no distractions, and actually asked yourself, how do I feel? How we feel is our GPS current location. We have to enter it in order to find a new route towards the coordinates of a better feeling place. And if we don't, we'll keep running from job to job, relationship to relationship, diet to diet, drink to drink, in my case, desk to desk. Because there is no life hack around human emotion. We have to go through to feel better. Silence isn't the enemy. It's actually emotional salvation. It's where our true character lives. We have to embrace the silence, like a thunder shirt or a Temple Grandin hug. Once I got more facile with my feelings, it was time for me to follow the fun and find whatever vehicle of passion was going to fundamentally drive me to my next GPS coordinate. I learned that I loved being physical and wanting to achieve, devouring a challenge and wanting to make the world a better place, and I went after it until I was standing rank and file at attention in full camouflage during basic training before my first year as a cadet for the United States Air Force Academy. That was my own special brand of fun, until it wasn't fun anymore, which might be the understatement of the century, but that's a longer talk and a book. Leaving the Air Force Academy was one of the hardest things that I had ever had to do because I had made a commitment, right? And I had worked the majority of my life to get there, and I didn't want to fail. Sound familiar? I know that many of you had to have stayed in either a job or relationship way longer than its expiration date, past the point of being passionate or fun, even past the point of being healthy. Couldn't we all use a little more passion in our lives? In fact, you don't even have to answer that. I know the answer to that question, and you want to know how I know the answer? Because the term meh is now an official word in the Oxford Dictionary. Meh. Hey, Kevin, how's life? Meh, I've had better. What? Do you remember back when we were kids and you used to smile your biggest, cheesiest, goofiest grin, cross your eyes, and stick your tongue out at one another just to make each other laugh? When did any of us ever feel stress in those situations? Our mirror neurons, our curiosity, our connection, our joyful energy made it utterly impossible. So why not take that same sentiment into your next job interview or into your next performance review with your boss? In fact, why not meet your mate with that face when they walk in the door at night? Well, maybe not that face, maybe just a smile. But we get so wrapped up in the seriousness of our responsibilities and our expectations, both for ourselves and for other people, that we forget that tapping into what lights us up is a choice. We are passionate beings by nature, built to express love. Why not experience the beautiful vulnerability of going all in on something or cheesing it up a bit? Why not go after what we love because it feels good and exhilarating and profound to be fully alive and in the moment? Why not follow the fun? I'm just saying. As kids, we innately follow the fun, but as adults, we are searching for something more, right? We want a sense of purpose, and we find our purpose when we start sharing our gifts. My sister bounds through the door one day and grabs my hand to tell me about a school assembly that they had just had, and how some adults had come in to talk about what they did for a living, and how she could just tell that not everyone really liked their job, and that watching them talk about it was just sad. She put her hand up in front of my heart, looked me straight in the eye, and said, "Popo, Pinky promised that you won't be one of those sad adults. Just do whatever brings you the mostest joy, always." I felt like I had spent the majority of my life not knowing how to find my mostest joy, and yet the buoy of laughter always seemed to yank me out from drowning in life's sea of deep, dark blue. When I started doing comedy on stage in front of an audience, that feeling was exponentially more meaningful. It's why we all love to laugh, right? And we laugh hardest together. The joygasm that is laughter, it's great alone, but it is infinitely more amazing when you share it with someone. That magical stranger at my sister's funeral was absolutely right. No one can take that feeling from us. Each of you are individuals, unique with your own upbringing, race, religion, creed, point of view, and yet you're all members of an audience, a collective. Take note of the people walking through this world beside you. We all share in this life experience together, and we can choose to either have each other's backs or not. What we say, what we do, who we are in the vulnerability of our authenticity, those are the gifts that we offer to each other, to the world. Who we are is our gift, weirdo idiosyncrasies and all. Those superpowers that we offer one another, they spin this spectacular kinetic web of creativity that connects us all and gives our life profound meaning and purpose. It is so satisfying to share our gifts. As improvisers, if we're willing to embrace the silence when we step on stage and connect, feel, embody, and communicate the character bubbling up inside of us, if we're able to follow the fun with a passion and learn to love, honor, and respect each character's constellation of attributes and quirks, then we can share the unique gifts that we bring to both the stage and our character in service of a greater show. If you want to find true fulfillment in life, all you have to do is practice improv. It allows us to navigate life's emotional landmines, communicate clearly, and collaborate creatively with others. And most importantly, it allows us to create a joyful life for ourselves, full of everything that we really want. We can survive to thrive anything, even tragedy. Trust me. Yes, life happens. It is a roller coaster ride filled with phenomenal highs and devastating lows and the full spectrum of human emotion in between. And it's what we're here for. We signed up for life's improv class, so let's play. My sister Sari's unfettered, raw, and real love was for horses, and she was killed in a horseback riding accident. At the time, my script ripped. But she was connected, lived her passion, shared her purpose, and died doing what she loved. How poetic, how beautiful does that make the shooting star of her life? Here I had been doing improv for years before I really realized that my first and best teacher of improv was my sister. And I guarantee you that each of you have those same teachers in your world right now. Life is constantly gifting us the exponential opportunity to just stop and pinky promise to do whatever brings you the mostest joy. So, happy improvising. Thank you, guys.